It's Tuesday. This is the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse, and we welcome you aboard if you're watching live. Welcome to the show. If you are watching at a later time or to your convenience, we also welcome you and give you fresh content with regards to the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area media. Look, I have talked several times of late about the fact that any day now, could be any moment, but it's on the horizon. KNBR, which is the alleged all sports radio station, combined with KNBR 1050 and on the FM 104.5, that used to be the old KFOG, obviously, it's now KNBR FM, will be transformed into a syndicated station, much like when KGO had its final breath back in October of 2022, and KGO went to what is now the somewhat phenomena of the betting business model with regards to sports radio stations. Well, so I have received some various contacts information from some radio people who sent me some internals that KNBR will become like, will sound like. And this is obviously very sensitive information and all that, but gives you the idea that Cumulus, which is on its final breath with regards to just overall economics and the overall state of terrestrial radio, how they're thinking. And this is what I've discovered, much like what I speculated. And it could be any moment now, as I just said, it could be within a couple of months. But here's what they're thinking. Basically, Cumulus will turn KNBR into what they already did to KGO, basically left it into I've made the sort of reference to picture a warehouse, a big, sprawling warehouse. And you walk in and the shelves are all empty except for a few little morsels. That's what I have talked about. This is essentially the same. KNBR will become all syndicated. It will evolve around voices from either CBS, could be Fox, although I doubt that, but basically syndicated programming, mostly taped, some live. Probably the bulk of syndicated programming will be live, much like what KGO is now. They call it 810 AM, the Edge. It's a betting station. In fact, I don't even know why. Well, I do know why they use the old call letters KGO, because it's nothing like KGO. It's nothing like even the latest iterations of KGO. It's now just fully a warehouse kind of a station. KNBR will become basically that with a few little caveats, like they'll still have the Giants, unless the Giants were to invoke some kind of a clause within their deal. And I don't know the intricacies of KNBR's deal, or rather the Giants' deal with KNBR and Cumulus. And yes, the 49ers. In fact, the 49ers already know that this is on the horizon. When, that is the $1 million question. But what's going to happen is you're going to wake up one day and they're going to start running the promos, much like they did with KGO back in October of 2022 when they flipped it, fired all of the live hosts, and a few of them new, like a certain guy who does a a YouTube show, not moi. And in any event, it is going to sound like pretty much syndicated programming is. It won't be local. They'll get rid of all the hosts. They will literally have some, when you want to call it an engineer, some guy in a hat to switch the station on. I mentioned, and this is important, 49ers and the Giants. They know about this. I'm almost certain. But I looked at these, documents, and they're not official or anything like that, but they spell to complete financial chaos taking place currently. I broadcast a couple of weeks ago about the fact that they had to take money from whatever account that they have for just day by day operations, turning the lights on, literally, making sure payroll is met, paying for day to day operations, whether that's a PG&E bill, well, turning the lights on, and paying people payroll, like engineers, like producers, like talent, on air talent. Well, now the proof is in the pudding. I think if I had to put money on it, I think they're going to wait it out as long as they can, try to get through the year. Come January, it's going to be wholesale. Can't believe this is happening. This is indicative, ladies and gentlemen, of the situation of terrestrial radio. The irony is the only formats that are existing, that are surviving with regards to terrestrial radio, and that includes FM, in addition to AM, are sports talk stations, or news talk stations. We don't have news talk in the Bay Area. That's been long gone. Sports talk. We don't really have sports talk. Oh, they allege their sports talk. 95.7 The Game is a little better, although not from a financial standpoint either. They're surviving too. And with the situation taking place with Odyssey and bankruptcy and the Soros Group, which now runs all the Odyssey stations, who knows what there. This broadcast is in regards to Cumulus and KNBR. Now, they're desperately, and I do mean desperately, before all this has been noticed by moi, I believe they've been trying to sell KNBR for a long time now, but there just simply is no interest. Advertisers are fleeing. A major advertiser, you may have heard them, an auto body shop left long ago, but there's others on the horizon. It is bad. I mentioned what took place down in LA the other day, walking papers for this woman named Robin Bertolucci, a big programming behemoth, if you will, at KFI. And that's considered one of the few stronger stations left. After 24 years, see you later. That's significant because she had contacts also with Cumulus. And now, as I said, really the only legitimate in terms of operational standards left for Cumulus here in the Bay Area are two stations, KNBR and 107.7 The Bone, which I guess survives based on a morning show, which I guess is by these standards today is okay, but it's hanging on. KNBR has an affiliation with the 49ers. Now, again, you might say, well, how are the 49ers going to allow this to happen? Well, what else can they do? I've often said here, I don't know why the Niners just go out and buy a radio station. Might as well buy KNBR if they could. It's the cost of a 1 year salary for a decent middle linebacker or something like that. Same thing with the Giants, because ultimately contracts and all that stuff don't mean anything if the stations suddenly disappear. And in many respects, this is basically what's going to happen. By going to a syndicated, and a lot of it's going to be absolutely out of market programming of shows that probably are taped. If they're live, they're probably going to get them from the CBS, or now what's called the Infinity broadcasts. So the 49ers broadcast will survive for now. But, programming like the local talk shows, Tolbert and Copes, and the Papa and Radio Gypsy Lunch Show, the morning show, are gone, are gone, are gone because the financials are not there. They don't have the money. It's you become a toxic asset when you have an asset. Radio is not an asset these days. It's dead, 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 dead. And their internals point to that. Cumulus. They understand. They know that their asset, which was once just that, an asset, is no longer the case. KNBR right now is basically on borrowed time. So what they'll do is they'll have somebody come in to a vacant studio and turn a switch on, and they'll go to all this tape programming, betting. It might be a residual of the 810 The Spread, the new KGO, which has, breadcrumbs listening, no local programming. And that's what it is. Cumulus's most successful station is KSFO. They barely get by. It's all syndicated, and it's all right-wing radio hosts. That there's no local show on KSFO. They might have some religious program on the weekend. If you want to count that as local, so be it. And of course, 1077 The Bone, which gets by based on another account they use to pay bills, to make sure the lights are on and the microphone is working, right? So right now, Cumulus and KNBR are any second now. Literally, I think my best guess is come January, this is going to happen. It's not a matter of when, or excuse me, a matter of if, just when. I think they'll survive the football season, but I could be wrong. If they have no money and they're having to borrow from their C and D accounts so they can pay for their A accounts, then it doesn't matter. The bank doesn't care. Then they'll go dark. They may survive in terms of Sunday and whatever day the 49ers play. Oh, they'll play that out. They'll honor that contract because they have to. And then come January, the end of football season, and early February with the Super Bowl, who knows what. But this thing is on a fast track to radio purgatory. It's done. And what you're going to hear is, again, talk show hosts that come out of New York or Boston or LA, and that's what you have. Very disturbing, but very much real. That's the name of the game these days because, again, folks, the state of radio is chaos and just overall malaise.